You guessed it, everybody. Another day, another obscurity in miniature. This one's not so obscure. Maybe it is for you. This is brand stinking new. Never mind all the other boxes that I got in the mail today. This is the new generic Swashbuckler from Kingdom Death and Adam Poots and hands everywhere as always. Interesting, this is not the usual box. Usually our boxes are white cardboard for plastic or the usual cardboard brown, tan, whatever color for all of the resin models. But she is the first, I'm hoping, of many of the generic classes. They always have a G there for like the generic RPG type characters. Postcard. Nothing on the inside, sadly. I always kind of figured there might be something there. New card Corsair coat. I'll leave that to the board gaming people because this is what I'm interested in. A new plastic model kit. So, right off the bat, big plus right here, we have a new custom base. Obviously, since we have a Swashbuckler, we've got a treasure chest. We have some razor thin sword blades there. That is going to be fun trying to cut off. Hopefully I can do it. That's one of her actual hands, and she has this pair of pistols here that's actually part of her coat. And in typical Kingdom Death fashion, we are not going to bother wearing pants. So you can see she's got these weird chap-like things on with extra pistols slapped in there. Funny enough, this is one of the first times in quite a long time that the breasts are actually attached to the figure. Usually they are a completely separate piece. Seems to be the hat right here and a thing. I don't know what that is right now. Looks like something, there's feathers on it. I'm assuming that's part of the hat as well. Maybe not. I have no clue. We'll figure it out. And a bottle of booze. I'm assuming that's going to go in that little crevasse right there. All right, let's do this. Let's try to figure out how to put this lady together. So I'm going to start, I'm assuming, let's get all the pieces cut and we will take a closer look at that. All right, we got all of our parts accounted for. Our base, obviously, right here. The torso with the head attached to it and part of the rear end. Surprised that's not its own piece. One thing to point out on the legs, they both have a little peg there. You might want to be careful cutting those off the sprue so that she can slot in correctly. A little bit of flash. I think that's flash. No, that's actually part of the coat. So those little nubs there, you might want to be careful of. The guns themselves, since they are very old-timey guns, you might want to make sure that you actually cut off. They're kind of rounded and kind of flute out at the end there. So be careful with those getting cut out. I'm going to start with the torso, and I need to clean it up anyway a little bit. I did a sloppy job getting it off of the sprue. I'm going to assume that there's a spot for her regular arms. I don't know what that is. Okay, yeah. Maybe I need to build the coat first. All right, I'm going to try that. I don't know. I'm mumbling to myself here. That's okay. Ah, you know what? Maybe this piece right here is actually the collar for the jacket. It might actually be. We are doing this in real time here. We are not going to bother looking online. I think it goes like that. All right, I'm going to clean these up. Let's just assume that the hat, that's the bottle. The hat is going to sit on her head. Oh, you know what? Never mind. No. That's on. Okay, that's actually the other half of the hat. It's not the back of the jacket. You can see actually the lapels there of the coat. With my fingers pointing. So that actual other piece I was looking at with the feathers, that's actually the other side of the hat. Okay, okay. Give me a sec, and I am going to start gluing here. All right, well, we had a slight change of plans. So I just went ahead and actually glued the legs on. And can I figure out... There we go. Okay, that fits pretty decently, but you'll notice that it doesn't look like the hills actually want to touch all the way down on the base. I think I did not do the best job of lining up her butt, but worst case, I can always go back and green stuff some thickness in there. Alright, well, how does she look so far compared to everybody else? So far, the Twilight Night Baker seems to be the biggest, but she's still going to give her a run for the money. So, our fighter, I guess, is sort of a generic. Let's keep working on it and see what we get here. Alright, I'm thinking maybe let's get the hat on and the arms, but we're still going to have to figure out this stinking coat. And I really don't know where this is all going to go. I need some kind of a square piece to plug you into. Alright, I'm going to sit and fiddle with this for a bit, and let's see what I have. So hopefully by the time I come back, I will have figured it out. Alright, well, I went ahead and glued the hat on, as you can see. So we have the two halves there glued together. And then we went ahead and I attached the sword because it seems like there's a little indentation there where the collar meets and the actual shoulder kind of connects, that the jacket is going to go in there. So it looks like I'm going to end up building the jacket a little bit earlier than I intended, but that's alright. So why don't I get that started? Alright, so we got the first arm, the first arm of the jacket attached. And it's going to be really difficult to see, but there's a teeny tiny little notch where the back part of the cloak is going to attach just like that. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to continue to build up the... Alright, so you can see that her jacket, her coat is starting to take shape there. And on this hand, this little circular piece right here is actually going to be the chain clasp that actually closes the cloak in the front, or the jacket, or whatever I keep calling it. So it kind of just locks in right there. I'm going to go ahead and glue that, and then I think we're going to figure out the last few pieces, because it doesn't look like I can actually attach her other hand. It looks like it kind of locks in on the bottom underneath it. So why don't we go ahead and finish off her jacket, and then we can get that other hand attached. So you can see that she's got both arms on her jacket here, and then I have this one last piece. And this piece is going to actually go in between that right arm and the back of the jacket. You see there's these two little holes. It's actually going to kind of slot in between those two holes and hold the whole shebang together. So I'm going to try to slot that in. I don't think I can do it on camera. I'm going to have to just pause this for a second. We'll put it on there. And check it out. So now our cape, cloak, jacket, corsair coat, that's what it's actually called, so I should call it by its correct name, is pretty much complete. You can see, so the way that last piece I mentioned, it just kind of slots in there and connects everything together. So that would be my recommendation for putting it together and then just tightening up everything. You see I've got some gaps in the coat that are going to need some filling, or at least just some clever repositioning that doesn't result in me having glue all over my fingers and the whole thing coming apart. Alright. We'll deal with that later. So finally, last but not least, we're going to have that arm just kind of slide in there, because you'll notice there's nothing on the back of this arm. It's all flat. It's just going to basically slot in like this onto her shoulder area and then onto her hip as well. So I'm going to glue that on, and then without the base, we'll be just about finished. And voila. So her hand just slides in nice and simple there. And we have one cool looking swashbuckler. I kind of wish that the arms on the coat were in a more dynamic position. I mean, they are what they are, but something about this figure and the whole ridiculousness really appeals to me. But that's something I can say about just about every single Kingdom Death figure. And also, in case you're wondering, that's where the bottle goes. But, you know, not a big deal there. I can't tell how well I have her attached to the base. I didn't glue the bottle down, so as it flops off, don't worry before I hurl it off. Okay, she's good to go. Honestly, I love the plastics for Kingdom Death. They are my go-to favorite, much more so than the GW stuff, much more so than the Malifaux stuff, which I love just as much. There's just something about it, their uniqueness and their dynamicism that usually is going on. This is a pretty static pose. And again, most of the pinup stuff is. So here you can see her with one of the more recent ones. This was from Valentine's Day. Here is the fighter from Echoes of Death, which was also started life off as one of the generics. She was the fighter figure way back when. Was obviously inspired by Blade of the Immortal. And our ever-present Witch Hunter Inquisitor dude, Black Friday Ninja, just to get a good feel. So that is one of the nice things about the Kingdom Death line, is that, you know, there is a lot of variation both in size and pose. We got an Easter Twilight Night there. We have one of the silences from the Naked Black Friday deal a few years ago. We got a Detective Twilight Night. So there's a lot going on, and I think she's going to fit into the line well. I absolutely love these figures. I am hoping beyond hope that Adam Poots decides to do some sort of early shipping wave for all the promos and pinup figures. Never mind the gambler's chest. I just want all the pinups because they are a lot of fun to build and paint. So hopefully this has been a somewhat helpful video in case you are floundering, because I know whenever I get a new Kingdom Death figure, I just cannot figure out what to do with them. So if this has been somewhat helpful to putting this lady together, give us a quick thumbs up down there and a like, and hopefully we will keep on making videos like this when we have time. With that said, this is High Lord Tamberling with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.